Today we will start making comics about meaningful relationships. First, let's do a warm-up about drawing facial expressions and reviewing how to draw a person. Set up your page like mine. 2 vertical lines and a horizontal line. Start in your first box. Watch how I make a happy face. The mouth and nose are curved upwards, and the eyebrows are pointing up. The ears line up with the eyes. Watch how I make an angry face. The mouth is a half circle. The eyebrows are pointing down. The ears are below the eyes. Watch how I make a speech bubble. Watch how I make a sad or worried face. The mouth is pointing down. The eyelids are also curved down, and the ears are droopy below the eyes. Watch how I draw a kid and an adult. Rectangle body, rectangle legs, rectangle arms. The kid is smaller than the adult, so draw each shape smaller. Next, watch how I draw excited people. I'm going to draw a kid and a grown-up. Look how I drew the arms in the air. On the last box, practice any emotion you like. Watch how I set up my Brainstorm comic page. This page is just practice. You'll need a pencil and paper to start. Later, you might need a Sharpie. I found rectangle shape items from around where I am to trace to make the boxes. If you don't have anything, that's okay. But if you're at home, it might help. If you're at school, you might have a crayon box that you can use. So I just traced my first box. When you trace, hold your object down with one hand and trace with the other. Now I'm going to use a Band-Aid box. And the lines are not going to be perfect because it's not a perfect rectangle. That's okay, you can connect them and fix them after you trace your object. You can also just freehand the rectangle, you don't have to trace. Watch how I freehand it. I just lightly mark in where the edges are first. And then I'll connect all the little marks. And in the story, the boxes are not perfect rectangles. Yours don't have to be either. Now I'm going to use a straight edge from the book to trace my rectangle. If you have a notebook, you might be able to do this. Okay, make sure you have a sharp pencil and start lightly sketching in your ideas. Test different things out, move shapes around, and decide how you like your drawings to be. As you do this, think of a story about a person who is meaningful to you. The story I'm thinking about is when my grandma taught me how to cook. This is just a practice draft, so it does not have to be perfect or finished by the end of this class. I'm drawing people just like we practiced, with rectangle or square-shaped bodies, rectangle arms and legs, and oval heads. I'm also practicing drawing my speech bubbles. Draw whatever you like in these squares. They're just practice for you to test out your ideas. Okay, you can get started now. You will make your final page in your sketchbook. Watch me first. First, I'm tracing my box again to make a bunch of little boxes on my page. Make as many as you need, but at least 2. Keep your brainstorming right next to your page so that you can remember your ideas. Lightly sketch in the ideas you had so that you can erase if you make mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. Take your time to add your details. After you've drawn all your pictures and made all your boxes, you can ink it in. If you use a Sharpie, you will be able to watercolor your comic. If you use a regular marker, then you won't be able to watercolor your comic. Either way is fine. Watch how I watercolor my comic. First, drip water in each paint color. Don't put your paintbrush in the paint yet. Look how my water is clear. Just put a couple drops in each color. If your paint is dry, then it won't work. I'm going to put a very small amount of paint on my brush to paint in my hair. Very carefully. Get a paper towel and dry your brush before you paint. Dip it in water, dip it in the paint, and then dab it on the paper towel or another piece of paper to get extra water off. See how lightly I'm using the paintbrush? Paint your people first, wait for them to dry, and then paint your background. If you paint your background while the people are still wet, then the colors will all mix together. So I'm painting me and my grandma first. And I'm using the paper towel to wipe up any mistakes or any blotches of water. And look how I'm using just the very tip of my paintbrush to paint in those details. I'm turning it on the side. You can look closely now. Look how my brush is just turned on the side, so I'm just using the little corner. And I'm still using my paper towel to get excess water off of my brush and off of my paper. See all the little water blotches? I just wipe them up.